Hey everyone, how's it going? James Breese here, and with me as ever, Josh Kennedy for another episode of The Training Room. Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I was just apologising for the mess in the background, but I think on my little screen you can't actually see it. Gearing up for baby girl. So yeah, lots. It's just a storeroom in here at the moment.
How long to go now? When's D Day?
Well, it could be anytime now. It's less than a month to go, so any day,
Oh,
any day.
any day, yeah, exactly. But the good news is your internet's now working. You were blaming Henry on the lack of podcasting duties earlier on, weren't you?
Yeah, he
What was he watching?
he was watching Paw Patrol on Prime, so it's streaming too much.
Damn that child. Got my coffee, decaf coffee,
Mm.
just to
Me
highlight.
too. Me too. Yeah,
Yeah,
decaf.
look at this. We're the decaf weirdos, I think is the best way to put it now.
I tell
For
you
those,
what. I tell you what. It's so expensive. This is Nescafe Azera decaf. £6.50 for a tin of it. £6.50.
origin from the West Country, down in Cornwall. Is Cornwall in the West Country? Can you count
Yes,
that?
it
Yeah,
is indeed.
okay. It's that. So, yeah, ground specially by my own fair hands this morning.
Ooh.
I know. So there you go. Anyway, welcome everybody to another episode. Today we're taking you into a deep dive into how we program for balance and stability. I think give an in-depth, like real-time case study of how we help somebody. Now we've blanked off their name for anonymity reasons to help them out and to save them all the not embarrassment, but you know what I mean. All the save us picking
Well,
on
it's a
them.
personal program for them, so let's
Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
let's anonymity is good, isn't it?
Exactly. That's a
It's
great
good.
way to put it. So we thought we'd go into it, share how we go through it, the thought process behind it, and then also be on hand to answer any questions that you may have as we're doing it. As always, the weekly show where we go into things a bit more in depth. We pull back the curtain and show you everything that we know, and we were trying to learn. Or if we don't know it, we'll share that too, live on air too. So there's nothing,
I was
nothing.
going to say, do we know everything? We don't know
No,
that.
I pretend every now and then think we have the answers, but not always we don't. But we're going to go into it step by step today. So, as ever, this is Josh's program, by the way. So put all blame on Josh if anything goes awry. But no, I'll talk you through the idea of what we do. So we're working with Platinum members. We always go through the assessments. Everyone follows the same system, the same process to start off with. So it gives us a good idea of where we're at and where your starting levels are at. It helps us build better programs. It may not be the quickest way to get you into a workout program, but it is what we found over the years the best way to get results long term. It's like a snowball effect. It builds and builds and builds. You ask better questions at the start, we can deliver better answers for you during the course of your program, and we can always refer back to the program to make sure the things that we're doing are working. So, quick summary of the hierarchy if I show up my screen now. So as ever, this is the Bible, so to speak, of the Strength Matters training system. So we work in the idea that there's 10 components of complete athleticism. You have mobility, stability, balance, and coordination in layer 1. Layer 2 is strength and aerobic capacity. Layer 3, the really funky cool stuff that every cool kid wants to do, is power, speed, agility, and anaerobic capacity. And then you have the overarching theme of mental resilience. So when we do the assessments and all our
And
assessment programs...
sorry, James, we do actually have health below layer 1.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do indeed. So we do have health as well, but in terms of training,
Yep.
like we put health first, that's a priority. Then we go to this above it. So good point, Josh. So this is how we do it. So for this, we have assessments for each of these things. Now, health is quite complex in the sense of we can only measure what we can and what we're able to do as trainers, and we're going to go through some of those in a second. But we create the assessment system around these 10 components, and that's how we do all our programming. So that's the basis, that's the theory, that's we've done this in depth. There's a whole course on this in the Inner Circle. And there's a book about it too, with the assessments as well. If you want to get your hands on it, get your paws on it. As Josh was watching Paw Patrol earlier on, you can get your paws on it inside the members area.
Do you have a favourite Paw Patrol, James? Favourite Paw
Patch?
Patrol?
Is that one?
Great, yes, well done.
I
No, it's
can't.
not.
I've seen them all. Like, what do you call it? Phoebe, my niece, is watching it all the time, so I know some of the characters. I can see them
Yeah.
doing things. She's got computer games she plays as well.
Oh, does she? Anyway,
Yeah,
that was a segue. Carry on.
exactly. But anyway, this is the theory. This is the idea behind it. So what does this look like in reality? What do we do when we get somebody for the first time? We do the assessments. What do we do with that data? Now, many of you may not even realize what we do with the data, but here's a good idea of what we do. We basically input it into our funky Excel calculator. It is Excel at the moment. We are working on creating software for this. It's a long way.
One day, if only.
If only, exactly. But we are working on software to put this all for us, to make it a lot easier to implement it and draw it in. But what this does, it creates something like this. So, as Josh was saying, I'm just trying to minimize it here now. What we have here is our health questions, our health assessments that we've worked with somebody. So this person, he was in law enforcement. He did a lot of work with there, and he'd done a lot of desk work for a while. He needed to get back into full health and full fitness. So as ever, like I said, health, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, that's kind of the form we go through. So we put in the numbers that he got from the assessments, and we look in like kind of 4 key areas: body comp, mortality, lifestyle, breathing, and then 5th one is brain function. Now, you don't see much brain function stuff on the books and stuff here because we hadn't put it in when we created those books, but you may see more of that in the coming future, and we'll explain that more in a second. So, first things first, we need some scores in the doors. George Dawes needed some scores in the doors, quite literally. So, here's where we started. Body composition. Now, we have a traffic light system essentially: green, red, amber, or amber, red, green, or red, green, amber.
Oh, actually, yeah, get it in the red, amber, green.
Red, amber,
red,
green.
amber, green.
I can't even get in the right order today. More coffee is needed here. So let's just start on body composition. We got some numbers and stats. We got red, amber, green. So what we're looking for are the reds. Basically here, we're looking for the reds on the screen because they're the things we need to prioritize first. So in terms of health, before we look at any of the cool stuff in training, what have we got here? We have a body fat percentage of 32%. We have a resting heart rate of 93, active heart rate of 134. We have a waist circumference in inches of 41. So anything above 40 is not good. And we have a waist to height ratio of 0.6. So if anyone's been with us a long time, you know anything over 0.5 is not the place to be. So straight away, Josh, what does that tell us?
Those are the priorities. We've got to look at obviously improving his resting and active heart rate and bringing his waist circumference down, which will therefore improve his waist height ratio. And no doubt body fat percentage, because if you're losing weight, you're going to lose body fat as well. So all of those things, they kind of tie in together.
Exactly. So in a nutshell, very simply, would we say he's a fat loss client by looking at those numbers?
Looking at that, yep, he is. Yeah. He is a fat loss client.
So in terms of health, we know what the risk factors are involved in terms of body weight and body fat percentage. So we've got to look at these in context. So we haven't even screened him for movement, strength, or anything at all. I've just taken these data, and the data is correlated towards thousands of data points we know from around the world and thousands of studies on the best markers that the experts and scientists themselves agree on. So that's what we got here. So straight away, body weight is body fat percentages is the primary concern maybe at the moment, along with his resting heart rate. Now, if you see here, lifestyle is empty. Not everyone wears trackers to see their steps or their monitor their sleep, but we do want to track that. We do want to see scores in here as well. Ideally looking for 7,000 steps a day and 7 hours a night is the idea. We do a basic breathing test. Again, it's a basic health test to see how well and how tolerant your body is to carbon dioxide. And then we go down to brain function all the way down the bottom, where we're just testing for stroke risk, I think is the best way to put it, to make sure everything's
it's basic neurological test. Yeah,
exactly. Say better than me. And also that if any one of these is off with a cerebellum, we know that if we do any mobility drills, we're always going to struggle long term. Because you've got to get the brain on board with the rest of the body, otherwise you just got no hope. So that's kind of where we're going here. So top level, very easily, fat loss client needs to lose weight, and we don't even know what he looks like. That's just from the numbers in front of us. So we're already now thinking, right, that's where we need to start. But then we got to go to the next level, right, Josh? Because we can't just program for fat loss off this, can we?
Nope, we certainly can't. Much more complex than that. Although when you look at that, first thing you might try and do is obviously we didn't have the lifestyle stuff. So you want to start talking to your client about steps. How many steps do they think they do? Can they start tracking this? Getting them walking, getting them sleeping. Um, if the client is up for it, then you might want to start straight away looking at a nutritional plan as well. Obviously,
Cool.
being a fat loss client.
Absolutely. So that's it. That's health. That's preceding the hierarchy. That's what we're looking at first. So we know it here. So in our head, as you start to write down to create the program, which we'll show you in a second, this is what's going through our mindset. So that's where it gets all numbers and stats again. So let's go to layer one. Now you've
Can
got to tell me.
you zoom in?
Yeah. Let's
Cool.
go in here.
That's better.
Right. So first of all, let's do a quick overview as we would as coaches and trainers of what we're seeing here. So at the top, we're seeing lots of greens. So greens, cool, everything's good. Where are the, oh, here we go. We're now at the reds. So we've now got flexibility, balance, and hip stuff. So those are the reds. Already we're now seeing and building a picture of, okay, very quickly, okay, we've got somebody who needs to lose a bit of weight, and we've got basic flexibility, balance, and hip issues. That's where our mindset is going. Let's go back up the top. So, Josh, can you talk us very quickly through these greens and what we've done here?
Yes, so in terms of ankle dorsiflexion, 6 inches is great. Basically, anything over 4.5, and you're in the green, you're looking good. Seiza sit, which is a Japanese resting position. He's got a yes on that. Again, if you can get 2 minutes, that's all green. Hip hinge, generally we require a video for that because you have to watch video. It's a movement hinge pattern, which not a lot of people, unless you've done, had a trainer or done a lot of training, or you are a trainer, are familiar with that pattern. Most people understand what a squat is, but a lot of people don't understand what a hinge is. So he passed that, which was good. I remember his video. He was good. Romberg test, which is a really basic balance test, even more basic than the single leg balance test. He passed everything. Again, if he hadn't have passed that, if there was any reds in the rest, we would do some mandibular, which is to do with the balance in. There's some basic rolling work, eye drills, and all sorts of stuff because your eyes are heavily linked to balance. So that's where we'd go with that. But he's got all greens there. He's got amber in the squat, but amber is basically we would like to improve it, but you're good to go.
Yep.
So he's fine there. Deep squat, he got 8 minutes. 10 is gold standard, but anything over 8 minutes we get green. His shoulders are moving well, so the scratch test is arm behind, one arm up, one arm behind. He's got good stability with the bird dog test as the anti-rotation, and then he's got standing twist test and zenith test, which is all about T-spine rotation. So he's rotating well.
Not too bad at all. And then obviously
he's no, and locomotion as well. Basic coordination test, which is the cross crawl test. He's passed that. So he's got a lot of greens there at the top end, and then obviously we start to look get into some flexibility issues. Now, what you've also got to consider is that, and this is not an insult to this client or anything like that. It's just down to body composition. Toe touch and the sitting toe touch, part of the reason he may not have passed that is down to body composition. So you got to look at that as well. But balance, obviously, it's not very good. 12 seconds is quite low. In an ideal world, we want 30 seconds if we can on either side, but at least absolutely bare minimum 15. But I generally look at trying to get people to 30 seconds as quickly as possible. And obviously, internal hip rotation is okay, but can be improved. And external, we definitely needed to work on. So in terms of those things, knowing he's a fat loss client, he's got balance issues and some mobility issues. Then in terms of what we do, even if he wanted to, we wouldn't be allowing this person to run. Whether if this person was a fan of running, we'd be like, no, we need to address certain things first before we can go running. So that does actually relate to what you're going to see in the program.
In the next slide. It's interesting as well because on basic flexibility, so you're exactly right. You've got to take body composition into consideration for no scores on here. But also what we tend to see quite a lot of the time is a yes and no. So like you'll see a
Yeah.
yes and a
Yeah.
no. Now, when we're looking at this, it's basically telling us it's a mobility client because you can't do it in either position.
Yeah.
And if we look deeper into this, it's likely down to his hip issues that may be going on,
Yep.
as well as potentially body weight here. But if it's a yes no, we know it's more of a stability issue that's going on.
Yeah.
As a good way to, and that's a different way to fix things to help somebody's toe touch. So there we have it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very quickly, health. Quick snap of how well he moves. He's doing pretty well, but it's down to basic mobility, potentially in and around the hips is what we're looking at, and we got to work on his balance. Because balance is so key for everyday life and in later in life actually as well. As I've written about in the article.
Yeah, it's really. Oh, have you really? Yeah, it's in terms of like old people and falls. There's a lot of data which shows it's a high death fall because one, they fall over in the hurt and then they can't get back up. So it does seem to get worse as we get older. So it's really important to address that straight away.
Yeah.
What is the make sure you got a good foundation. You don't want to build on a rocky foundation, so you got to address your balance first.
That's what I think. Literally in the magazine for next month, that's what I've talked about, the foundation of the house, because it's quite near and dear to my heart. That is because when I was in the police in London, I'd always have to go to what we call claps behind locked doors, where there was an old person had fallen over because they lost their balance and they couldn't get back up because they weren't strong enough to get back up, and sometimes it was too late, unfortunately. So it's just something that I've seen a lot of, and it's something why we put such a big emphasis on balance for people to help them get to where they want to get to these days. So there we go. Good little snapshot idea. This is the picture where we're building up with the assessments. They're all done themselves. We're pulling the data through. We can see the visuals they're pulling through. And the next thing we want to look at is the layer 2.1. Because remember, we split layer 2 into 2.1 and 2.2. So dive into this. Let me know when you can see it, Josh. Is that better?
Yep, I can see that. Yep.
Cool. So right at the top we have applied balance. We're going to put everything up that we've done in layer 1 with balance to make sure that does it work in the real world. So the applied balance test is, can you put your shoe and sock off and on again while standing on one leg? Your eyes are open. But I want to test mobility, stability, balance and coordination all in one in like a real world setting. The old man test, sometimes it's called as well. So we want to do that. Now the secret to any good strength training plan is having a strong core, strong glutes and strong grip.
Abs and glutes. Yeah.
Grip, abs and glutes. That's what we're looking for here. So what we're looking straight away are a couple of reds. The reds are on the straight arm plank. So core is an issue. And then we've got an issue on grip with the 1 minute active hang, where you're just going to hang from a bar for a minute. Glute bridge seems okay. So basic testing is okay there. But here, abs and grip are the two core factors. Basic squats, okay, they can do some airborne lunges. They can do some body weight split squats. Okay, that's fine, body weight. But we've got a couple of big reds here, coupled with the reds from the mobility side of things, and a couple with the reds to here. So sadly, in terms of training with us, he will not progress to layer 2.2 or layer 3 because we need to address these
I thought you were going to say, sadly, in terms of training, he will not be training with us. That's what it sounded like. You're going to say for a second. So yeah, he doesn't progress to layer 2.2 on the assessments.
Exactly. Now, what this looks like in terms of overall scores, because again, we use this as a calculation to put on scores and create this for people. So we're looking at here as an overall snapshot of everything. So if nobody knows this and sees all these assessments as we're discussing here today, we know that health, movement, strength and cardio are all priorities. Now, it's not a true testing format because layer 2.2 hasn't been completed. But from this straight away, I would argue that health is the primary factor that we need to be addressing. Compared to when we're adding all the numbers up and looking here, which kind of correlates with cardio, because remember his resting heart rate was 93 with an active heart rate of 134. So that's kind of putting all together. That's kind of how we see things from the top level, how we're programming it, and where our thought processes go before we start putting the program together. Have we covered everything, Josh, do you think? Is that enough?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I think so too.
That's good.
So, how do we put this into a workable format? What do we do? What does the program look like? that we're trying to deliver? Well, there's so many factors that go into it. It's equipment, what equipment's available to you, what time have you got to work with, and how do we put things together. So let me minimize that. Let's pull up his actual training plan. So again, Josh, let me know if you can see everything okay.
Yep, I don't suppose there's any way you can zoom on that, is there?
Let me see what I can do.
Oh, maybe that's a
Is that a bit
little
better?
bit better. A little bit. Yeah, it's just not that easy to see. I suppose if you click on each one, if we go through,
I'll try
then
and
it
click on
gets a
each one
bit
and see
bigger.
how it goes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there we go. So, very simple. Josh, you wrote this program. So should we talk a little bit about
Mm,
this and how we do it?
yeah. Yes, indeed. So, should we start at the start? Strength and
Mm-hmm.
cook drill. Could you click on that one
Sure.
for me? So, in terms of, it's trying to remember what I was, what I did now because I wrote this a while ago. In terms of the warm-ups and activations, they are a mix of getting the client ready for the actual workout and, as best you can, taking into account what happened in the assessments, and if there's anything you can work in there that they specifically need to work on, you put it in there. So, like I said, it was about getting ready for the training that was coming up. But if you see the activation circuit, for instance, we've got get back ups, which people may know from Dan John or Perry
Very.
Nicholson, Ball Matrix. Um, One, it's a great warm up in itself. Great for activation. It's a full body movement. So you're getting up and down off the floor. What is it? 25 times if you do the full version. So
I think so,
great for
something
getting
like that,
you
yeah.
on off. Great for getting the heart rate up. So it serves as a warm up in itself, warm up and activation. But it is good for improving your head and eyes are going up and down. You're changing levels, so it works the balance and vestibular system. So if we refer back to the assessments, what happened? His balance wasn't that great, needed working on. But there you go. We've got it in the activation circuit. Scroll down. Then in terms of what our assessments say, he is a beginner client, so we try to cover all movements: push, pull, squat, hinge, rotate, anti-rotate, and locomotion within every single workout if we can.
Mm-hmm.
If we can. So if we see here, we've got emerging pattern, which comes under hinge. Uh, Again, assessments, he needed to work on his core strength. So we've got straight arm plank in there. We've got a squat movement, simple squat movement in goblet squats. And he needed to work on his grip strength with active hang. And it is right there in the program. Cook drill, great for grip and core and anti-rotation as
Yep.
well, anti-rotation, anti-flexion, and it's also a locomotion. So pretty much we've got most of the movements covered straight away within that. One of the movements is an overhead, so that so you've got a press-in movement there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got majority of things covered within. Oh, we've got a finisher as well,
Yep.
optional. So I've put that if time, because this client had potentially was limited for that time, so you're given the option of being able to do this. He enjoyed boxing, um, and this was a tip towards a little bit of a high intensity finisher for fat loss. That's what this was about. A little bit of squatting and again, core and anti-rotation work in there,
Exactly.
and then we've got a cool down and stretch off at the end
Cool. If we look at again,
on that
think
one.
about the formula that we always follow, guys. No matter what everyone does, it's like you got to warm up, you mobilize the joints, activate the
Yep.
muscles, you do the workout, and you stretch at the end. So dynamic
Indeed.
stretching to begin with, passive stretching towards the end, and look, seated hamstring stretches because think back to his assessments. He struggled to touch his toe,
Yep.
so all
And
correlates back in.
and it's a scaled version because there's no point giving him a version where he's going to fail. So you try and give him something that's more manageable.
Absolutely. So it's a mixture of everything, but look, all along the way, we're working core, 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 core.
Yep.
Like you may not be doing sit-ups here, but even a goblet squat is core. Just you might
Yeah.
do a goblet
Absolutely.
squat. You got a core work here. So there's lots of work here to try and build him up to getting ready to where we're going to go to. So next day we have. So again, a mixed modal day, which is interesting. Now remember, what is cardio? We believe cardio is an issue. The resting heart rate is an issue. We've got to take that into consideration. So cardio needs to be an emphasis and a top priority throughout this program.
Yep.
Doesn't mean we're going to get people running or sprinting marathons at all. There are other ways to build people up the capacity to do it, and mixed modal is a great way of doing it. So Josh, talk us through this one.
Yep, absolutely. If you go back and look at the warm up, baby roll within the warm up again, rolling patterns, great for balance work. So I put that in there as part of the warm up, and into the activation, you've got rolling 45. So again, always thinking, trying to improve balance, trying to improve balance. There's little things you can stick in there. And also rolling 45s is great to try and start learning get-ups as well, which are what we call a golden movement because they cover
Mm-hmm.
all 7 human movement patterns within one move. So it's teaching as well, trying to learn new movement patterns and with a thought process of trying to build towards things like get-ups in there
Yep.
as well. And then the mixed modal training start at generally we start at 20-25 minutes work with the goal. So this is what we call map 10 work, and that is ideally 60 minutes, but there's no way I can just put this client in with a resting heart rate of 93 and being
Mm-hmm.
slightly overweight and just give him 60 minutes of workout straight away. It'd kill him. The idea is that this is nice and sustainable. So what have we got? Brisk treadmill walk again. Ideally, we'd want someone to perhaps run if they could, but this client is not ready for running yet. Therefore, it is a brisk walk at a slight incline just to get the heart rate up because we want to get it up to, so he's not massively out of breath, but he's, we want to get him a little bit out of breath just so that he can just about still hold a conversation. And then we've got bodyweight Turkish get-ups again, so that relates back to the rolling 45s. And then some farmers walk for a bit of core and grip work. It's cyclical work and body weight and carries, just really really simple stuff. So there's no blooming, even like push-ups and pull-ups would be far too difficult for this person to sustain. So you've got to think of simple movements that you can just do continuous round and round and round. And then if I remember rightly, by the end of this training cycle, he was up to 45 or 50 minutes of this working round and round.
Perfect, and that's important. So like when you're doing, like you see, mixed modal training is very popular amongst the world of CrossFit with AMRAPs, EMOMs,
Yep.
all these, chippers, all these different things here. Where you're pushing as hard as you possibly can, but to build someone's foundation and base, you've got to start from the ground up and build volume first, and then rise to the peak at the top.
Yeah.
So the bigger your base, the higher the peak. So most people over 30 who haven't been exercising for a long time, we start at the bottom, build this foundation here. So again, if it's walking, it's great.
Yeah.
Like treadmill is what we had. We could do it with a row, but sometimes a
Yeah,
row is too
exactly.
hard.
Yeah, treadmill was all the only piece of equipment he had, so that's what we used. There you go.
Exactly. So it's super easy. The golden rule of basic mixed modal training is 3 pieces for complete beginners. Nothing too
Yep.
complex. Super simple, super easy. So that's day 2, which is more of a cardio work capacity type focus.
Yeah.
Then we've got day 3.
I'm not sure whether these
Amanda.
are in the exact order that he did them. By the way, this was just when I did it, so it could have changed. So remember, we didn't have steps in his assessment. Obviously, I did talk to him. He worked at a desk a lot. He had to drive place to place, so he really didn't walk that much. So again, this is about getting him out, walking, starting at 25 minutes, building up to at least 60 minutes, providing the client has got time. But it's not always that interesting walking. We're talking ideal world here. So just to mix it up a little bit, make it slightly more interesting, we put some simple body weight exercises into that walking, starting off at 5-minute intervals. Now, if you get to 60 minutes or anything above 45 is good, you can then reduce your time if needs be, but also increase your intervals. So go to 4 minutes and do it, and then down to 3 minutes and 2. So it just makes it more intense if that's the way you want to go.
Perfect.
So
Yeah, I'm using some heart rate stuff in here as well. It's easy, like we don't really use heart rate amongst mixed modal training because it's hard to go across each three different modalities.
Yeah.
But when you've got here for walking, we can use it as a good guide as a resting period. So again,
Yeah.
we're using the math method, 180 minus your age, as a guide to help us keep us in the aerobic zone or below aerobic threshold, because you want to keep it and build him up slowly. That's how you
Yeah.
build an aerobic base. It's not through by killing him by high intensity stuff. Remember, he's
No.
got
Exactly.
a high resting heart rate, so you got to keep it in
Yeah.
easy and build it from the ground up every step of the
Yeah.
way.
And what I was going to say. Oh, so yeah, we got heart rate in there. But if you don't have a heart rate monitor, you can use what called the RPE scale, rate of perceived exertion. There's two different versions. Some people go up to 20, but I generally like to use 1 to 10. So 1 is lying down, doing absolutely nothing. 10 is all out, maximum effort. So here you're looking at between 4 to 6 on the RP scale, right in the middle. So
Yep.
nice and easy and sustainable in terms of effort.
Cool. Let's look at day 4, stability session.
So this is going back to his balance. Again, we've got the fall matrix, so we're working on getting him on and off the ground. Also, it gets a good sweat up as well. Like I said, it serves several purposes. It's fun, gets a good sweat up, and it's working on your balance all at the same time. So serves lots of purposes. I love the fall matrix. I think it's brilliant. And then we've got some core work. Because as we know, he needed to work on his core strength. So we've got some bird dogs in there, dead bugs. They can be. I've given him a banded version just to increase the intensity a little bit, but you can just do body weight dead bugs. Side planks, again, side planks anti-rotation. Stir the pot, again, great exercise. And then what has he got? 3 rounds. 3 rounds of that. Yeah.
Cool. Little core circuit there, and he finishes off with double banded hamstring stretch. Remember, thread the needle, rotation stuff.
Yep.
We've got things here, mirror imaging, everything that we're doing here. So, like I said, everything's there for a reason. We don't leave everything by chance. It's there based on the assessments we put through and put together. Now, do you want to talk us through the rest day, Josh? Is that okay for you to do that?
Yeah. Rest day. Rest. Make sure. Actually, you know what? That is a funny point, because even on your rest day, make sure you're drinking your water. If you can get 7,000 steps, please do, etc., etc. And sleep. Yeah, exactly.
And then to finish off with, let me just pull this over here a little bit more. We have a specific hips and balance day.
Yeah, so hip mobility was his big thing. Like I said, the hamstring mobility was probably a little more down to body composition initially, but the hips were a little more of a priority. So I've given him a specific hip mobility session mixed with balance as well, because again, I wanted to improve that as quickly as possible to allow us to move on and do more complex things. So we've got some activation with some slapping work. Then we got some release work, stretching into an easy locomotive movement on the ground, which is a baby crawl, into some dynamic movement. That's how we generally structure mobility.
And it's very different. To really maximize and see improvements in mobility, we do separate days to help this. You can only do so much during the training session, but to really make significant difference and for it to stick, and that's the important thing. You can do little bits here to help it, but to make it stick, this is our system of how we do it. So again, but activation work, dynamic slapping, move some lymph, move everything around it. Release, I say foam roll. We foam roll because it's proprioceptive feedback to prepare the body, saying, "Hey, we're going to be doing some stuff here shortly." Stretch passively into integrating it amongst it all, getting some activity, the baby crawl here, and then we finish with the dynamic stuff. So it's in a workout, it's dynamic then passive at the end of the workout.
Yep.
Here it's passive first, then dynamic.
Absolutely.
And that's the key difference. And then we got our favorite infinity walk.
Yes, indeed. So this is a neurological drill. So you set up a figure 8 of cones, and then you've got a target. It's hard to explain, but you got a target in the middle of those cones, and you've got to walk in a figure of 8. Yeah, exactly, like that. Walk in a figure of 8, constantly keeping your eyes on that target, with never losing it. Then you've got some neck nods. Again, anything that moves your head and eyes at the same time is is a balance as well as good flexibility, of course. And then you repeat the infinity walk, but you go on one leg. There you go. That's how to improve your balance. Stand on one leg, and you've got some a little sequence to follow. But what I also say to people who need to improve the balance, and I remember doing this with this client as well, is stand on one foot with your eyes open, by the way, while you're cleaning your teeth in the morning and in the evening.
Perfect.
Just to get a little bit of extra balance work in there.
Yep. That's it. It sounds easy. But it's not. Like, I think that's the best way.
And on the seventh day he doth rest.
He doth rest, exactly. He doth rest. Congratulations, you've done it. But that's how it all ties in. You can see the idea of how most workouts are the same. You want to lubricate the joints, activate the muscles, do the workout, then we stretch. That's the same form without. But then, based on everything we've got in here, it's going back to his original assessments, where look, focusing on health because we need to improve his heart rate, and cardio tying in here, and his movement scores along with his core scores back in here. And that's what we did to try and improve it. And that's how we set the results. That's how we set the standard to begin with. And we went from there, didn't we, Josh?
We did indeed. And I can tell you, he did progress. He went on to walk jogs. His workouts got more intense. He lost weight. He did great. So yeah.
Fantastic. And that was it. So we thought today we'd just give you a little idea behind the scenes of what's the thought process that goes behind the scenes when we put your programs together for all the Platinum members. How do we do what we do? Do we just pluck the ideas out of thin air, go, yeah, we'll try this today? Or is there more thought? But there's a lot more thought process behind what we're trying to do. And that's something for more balance and coordination with some stability and a lot of core work in there to boot. Josh, have you got any questions?
No, I just hope the guys can see the thought process and it makes sense. The thought process that goes into programming. As you say, we don't just put random things together, because we do get questions like that sometimes. It's like, well, why am I doing this? Why are you making me do this warm up and this activation? It's like, well, nothing is in there by chance. Nothing is in there by chance. No. It's all there for a reason.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And honestly, if speaking to all the members out there, current Platinum members at the moment, if you want us to talk about your program, if we put a new program together for you and you want us to talk about why we're doing what we're doing amongst the group, let us know. We'll happily do it if you're happy for us to do so too. And we'll explain to you in depth why we're doing such things if you want it. And we'll say it for
why are you getting me to roll around the floor like a lunatic?
Exactly. My husband and my wife are looking at me really funnily, and people are staring at me. Why are you dropping down to do push-ups every time you go for a run? Well, my trainer says so. That was it. So anyway, guys, I hope you really enjoyed it. It's for all you guys inside the inner circle. We'll be back next week for another episode. Hopefully you found it useful. Any questions, leave them down below in the comments. We're happy to answer them. But Josh, until next time, sayonara. Is that the word we're going to use today?
Thank you very much. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Cool. See you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.